Hello everybody, once again, this is AikawaKazu and welcome back to another Trio Savior video here. This will be about my level 100 Barbarian here, full Dex. And this video will tell you about, the pros about my build as well as some of the other stuff that you might consider, like a full Dex build compared to a full strength. I'll let you guys know about my insights on that. And of course, most importantly, my insights or my thought processes behind why I actually build my character this way. So first things first, full Dex build. I have 154 Dex, 1 Dex for 1 critical rate, which means I have a decent crit rate here. I would say right now my crit rate as a feel is around 40%. I wouldn't say it's 50% yet. So that's the first thing. I think you'll get about close to 75% crit rate, about 200 crit rate or so. I saw a hoplite into Catapult guy. He told me he has 150 crit rate. And he has, when he's buffed, he has 200 crit rate, and I saw him crit, like I saw him doing normal attacks, so it's like critting, so like, okay, so that's about how much dex you need to crit, or how much crit rate you need to be critting consistently against about level 100 plus monsters. Okay, so when you go full dex, what is the issue here? The drawback is that your physical base attack will be pretty low. So I actually resetted my status points and then went full strength just to see how much, what's the values here. And I have about 499 max physical attack, which means in comparison, the drawback that you have here is about 82 base damage, 182, my bad. Oh, that's a huge difference, right? 182 difference in physical attack, and as well as you will have about 100 plus critical attack, if I recall correctly, or even 150 plus critical attack. Okay, so if you go full strength, that's what you get compared to going full dex. So why is quote unquote full dex quote unquote better? Okay, with dex you get high crit rate. I mean, that's a given, right? People know that. Higher critical rate. You also get high evasion, 334 evasion. Alright, and all physical attack, strength gives you is more damage, more crit damage, which is what critical attack is, and maximum carry weight. It doesn't give you like increase in defense by a significant amount or the kind of thing. So when you go full dex for physical attacks, you'll find yourself dodging a lot. Let me just demonstrate here. Hit this guy, and I'm just going to leave it here to let you guys see. So when you go full dex, you have evasion, but the problem with evasion is that you cannot actually evade magical attacks. This is quite sad. I actually didn't dodge 2 skills. 2 attacks already. Alright, first dodge, there you go. Come on, game. Come on. Goodness me gracious. That's 1 out of 4 attacks. Okay, there you go. 2 out of 5. Not so bad anymore. Okay, so when you go full dex, you actually cannot dodge magical attacks. So when you fight magical attack base bosses, you'll find yourself in trouble. Like, you'll take some damage that you can't dodge. So, but the thing about those damages, you can walk out of them. So it's cool, right? But dodging physical attacks allows you to fight against physical attack bosses, just face rolling them. So it's cool. So full dex build has, from what I see, pretty good against all the bosses or grinding in Trio Saviors. So you can see it right now come to fruition. Oh, we're done with this guy. So we're gonna dispatch of him here. But he's dead, it's just lagging. So there we go. And we're gonna be back up here again. So full dex, high crit rate. And of course, how do we actually counteract the drawback here? Okay, so if I go full strength, right, okay, I will not have crit rates, but if I go full dex, I don't have damage. So how do I actually counteract or compensate for the drawback of damage that we have? Thankfully, the way that the developers designed Swordsman, which is the class that you will start off no matter what, when you want to go to Barbarian, Highlander, whatever, you have to start with Swordsman 1. We have 2 key skills, Gung Ho and Concentrate. Alright, so Gung Ho, what does it do? Alright, increases your physical damage, however, decreasing your physical defense. But since you're dodging like a boss, you don't need to worry about that negative part. Okay, Concentrate increases your damage, additional damage plus 101, and for 20 hits. So the reason why you can see plus 83 and plus 101 here is because there's something called attributes in Trio Savior, and what attributes do or are is that they give you a certain enhancement to a skill set that you already have. For example, right now Gung Ho, alright, increases it amplifies the physical damage effect and the defense decrease effect by 1 per level. So essentially I have plus 48 damage here. have a concentrate 2 per level, so plus 82 damage here, which is why actually if you look at concentrate level 10, it only adds about, if you minus 82 from here, yeah, it adds about 19 damage for 20 hits, which is quite low. And for Gung Ho, you're looking at plus 33, 35 damage at level 10, which is not a lot, which is why it's fine to go Swordsman 1, but you need to be very diligent in leveling your attributes for Gung Ho and Concentrate so that you can compensate for your loss in physical attack. So if you can see, if I buff Gung Ho right now, look at that, I hit 400 max damage. Concentrate won't show here because it's only for 20 hits, so you can see a huge buff to my base damage here, and Gung Ho will help you compensate just slightly the drawback that you have when you just go full Dex. So that's why it's cool. I went Swordsman level 2 here, so the only difference that you will see is that I have 5 additional levels of Gung Ho and Concentrate compared to you if you actually went, you know, Swordsman 1 straight into Highlander, that kind of stuff. But I went Swordsman 2 because I was trying to go for Restrain, because, okay, the idea behind my build is that I wanted to stun people. Why do I want to stun people? Because for Barbarian, Cleave deals additional damage to stun enemies, and mind you, the additional damage is pretty high. Let me just show you guys very quickly here. Stun, overkill. So if you want to see how much HP this guy has, that was 100% overkill by the way. So I think 200 per hit here. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Well, okay, about 20 hits because I have some crits in the mix there. So 20, about 4k health. So essentially I did a 4k plus damage crit onto that guy with my Cleave. And Cleave by itself doesn't do a lot of damage. Look at that, Cleave by itself. Okay, that's a crit. Okay, I can't see anymore. That's just with Gung Ho, guys. So you can see that Cleave by itself with a crit, it's only 1.2k. But with a stun target, you're looking at 4k crit, and that's just with Gung Ho. With Concentrate, you're looking at more. I don't know whether Concentrate affects actually, so I take that back. But you can see that a crit damage, or rather a stun, a Cleave used on a stun enemy increases its damage by a lot. And I really mean a lot. So that's the idea behind getting Restrained, because he has a 20% chance to stun the target. Alright. And I want to keep the guy stunned so I can cleave him all the time. So that's my idea behind my build. But it didn't work out. So right now I can quite safely say that Swordsman 1 is enough. And maybe you can go Highlander to get Catar Stroke just to burst down bosses faster, because one of the issues that Swordsman 2 will face at the start is you'll just, you know, normal attack the bosses down all the way for your first 40 levels, because you can get your Barbarian at rank 3, which is around level 42? No, around 42 usually, around level 42. So your first 42 levels will be quite hell. But I didn't really regret going Swordsman 2 anyway, because I can get Restrain, which is also okay if you can keep dungeon monsters stun up. They cannot damage you when there's too many monsters, that kind of stuff. And if you don't want to get Restrain, you can go for level 10 Pain Barrier, which gives you high resistance to knock down on stackers. So Swordsman 2 not essential, but it's okay to go, I guess, for my build. I'm quite happy with my build right now. Okay, so Barbarian. Okay, so where do I actually, you know, play around with all these things? Where do I actually do my quote-unquote theory craft? Alright, I do it here at the, I believe it's called tos.com. Let me just open it up very quickly here. The skill simulator for you guys to see. And you can play around with all the classes there. I'll put the link in the description below the video where you can play around with all your various class combinations that you want to do. So here I go Swordsman. Let's say if I go Highlander, right? So I have 5 Gung Ho, 5 Concentrate. I'll probably go 5 Pain Barrier. I don't go Bash or Trust because if you go Swordsman 2, I have seen people go Swordsman 2 and then Bash level 10, but you won't be using Bash a lot, to be honest. He has a pretty low cooldown, so you can actually spam it, but you know, you're gonna use SP, so SP is a problem for warriors or swordsmen, so I don't usually go for Bash because I'm not gonna use it anyway if you're going for Swordsman 2. So if you go Highlander, you'll get Cathar Stroke, and Cathar Stroke you can increase its damage, you can increase additional damage to knock down enemies apparently, and you can remove the knockback. So that's the attributes for it. And you can temporarily decrease, okay, never mind, let's not go about top of Highlander. So you can go Highlander and then you go into Barbarian. So there's one way you can go about it. But my build is Swordsman 2, Swordsman 2 into Barbarian. So you can play around here. And Barbarian, Barbarian. So the first thing that people go for Barbarian is that they'll go for Cleave. Like they're like, oh man, I'm gonna go Barbarian 3, Cleave build, you know, I can do 5k crits right now at level 100. If I have Cleave level 15, I'll be doing, I don't know, many damage. But, alright, unfortunately, I was faced with the reality. Alright, the reality about Cleave build Barbarian is that you cannot creep bosses. So if you're hoping that you can cleave your way to kill bosses and deal huge damage to bosses, then I can tell you right now that that is not going to happen. Alright, so what do Barbarians have that is actually pretty good? Alright, that I realized, because if you look at my, let me just bring back out my game. My build right now, my Cleave is actually level 7. I actually tried Cleave level 10, I'm not happy with the damage that he can do, because at level 10, its damage is about 954 compared to a level 5 seism, which is 1054, and AoE attack ratio of 11. What is AoE attack ratio? AoE attack ratio is the number of targets that you can hit by that skill. So seism has +2 more AoE attack ratio compared to Cleave at level 7. Or rather, just compared to Cleave. However, Cleave has a very short range, alright? Let me just show you guys very quickly here. Cleave, look at this, I'm standing here right now. Okay, let's see. Okay, he's here. I hit him. That's about the furthest range you can get Cleave. Alright, so that's one of the drawbacks of going Cleave. And you cannot hit targets on your left or your right, like, you know, just beside you. Like, it has to be, I don't know, 10 degrees from the north area down and then around 160 degrees down to the south area, if you can understand what that means. But if you look at seism, look at this guy, he's so far away, right? Okay, hit him. So seism has a much larger AoE by itself, not talking about the ratio, compared to Cleave. Actually, let me think. I'm actually not 100% sure. If I'm wrong, let me know. Maybe AoE attack ratio is how far your AoE actually hits. So 9 is 9 meters in front of you maybe, and for 11 means 11 meters? Does that make sense to you guys? But that doesn't make sense in a sense, because sometimes I can hit enemies just beside me, like just directly below me. Let me just demonstrate to you guys very quickly with seism here. Like I say, this guy, right, if I cleave him right now, right here, I can't hit him. I hit seism either. Okay, so I might be wrong here. I just realized this is something that just came, like, you know, like Eureka, it just came to me. Maybe the numbers of 9, 11 is not the number of targets you can hit, it's just your range. Okay, so basically seism has more range, alright? And let's say if I'm wrong about that, it can hit more targets and he has more range, both at the same time. So in any case, seism has a higher base damage of 1054 at level 5. And if you go back, let's go back to the skill simulator here very quickly. If I go bring it to level 10, if I go going for Barbarian 3, it's 1752 compared to 1.3k here. So seism is a reliable boss damage skill that can hit a lot of targets, further range compared to Cleave. And you know, when you fight bosses, you always summon all these monsters, and basically seism is a better grinding skill because of its larger AoE, and it's a better bossing skill because it has higher base damage. But of course, if you're fighting elite monsters that can be stunned, Helm Chopper in the Cleave will do more damage than seism any day. Alright, seism can do about 4000 damage with all critical hits right now, but if I use Cleave with critical hits, it can hit like 5-6,000 if you saw my previous level 99 dungeon gameplay video. So Barbarian is also good for Warcry. So my build right now, if I'm going Barbarian 3, will be Cleave 5, Helm Chopper 1, and we'll keep it at 5, get seism 5 first, followed by Frenzy for bossing, and then Warcry 5. And then when you have enough extra points, you go for Cleave. But if you look at your Barbarian 3 here, you want to go for Frenzy 10 for sure, plus 400 damage, 20 stacks plus 20 damage per stack, which means plus 400 attack for 20 stacks for 50 seconds. You'll be definitely maxing your seism. And whether you want to max Giant Swing, which deals only, let's see, let me just remove, level 5 is only 589. Alright, you rotate 9 times, so if this is 9 times 584, we don't know. I didn't get to test this yet, so if you have tested it, you can let us know. And then you have pouncing here that can go up to level 5 as well, that you might want to add. So maybe, because I would say a large part of Cleave being good, a large part of Cleave being good is it being able to do additional damage on a stun target, and the additional damage is going to outweigh the additional, you know, 400 damage you get here on the base damage. which means at level 10, Cleave is actually very good already. And with Helm Chopper stun rate, which is why you're gonna use it anyway for the additional damage. Then that is actually good enough, and you can put that 5 points into pouncing, into Warcry, and I think you definitely want Warcry here. So essentially, you have 4 points here that maybe just put Giant Swing and pouncing just to get, and maybe add the rest to pouncing. I don't know. This one can charge for 10 seconds. I've seen the video on it. It's pretty cool. You charge and you deal damage as you run through people that block your way, and I'm not too sure if the charging is like, can you change the direction while you're charging, or you cannot change the direction. That kind of stuff is gonna matter. Whether it's gonna matter a lot if pouncing is actually good, and of course for Giant Swing it's gonna matter if the rotation every time deals the damage. Like every time you rotate the damage. Every time you rotate the damage. If that's the case, then Giant Swing is actually a very good skill to get, because if you keep it to 5, then you can do what, close to 5k worth of attack, which is a lot if you think about it. If not, Warcry, you can buff it with attribute as well to make the physical damage increase effect to be minus 30 more, so it's minus 60 with max level 10 attribute, and of course you increase the duration to make its downtime to be like 42 seconds compared to right now it's 52 seconds, and you can increase the targets to 10 compared to 5. Alright, so that's Barbarian 3. And after that, rank 6, that's beyond me, because I've not done that yet. So we're talking about rank 4 right now, which is where I'm at. So at rank 4, seism over Cleave, for sure, and only at Cleave if you have a Barbarian 3 build later on. Alright, so if you're not going Barbarian 3, which is what most people don't usually do, they go Barbarian 2 into like Corsair, or even Barbarian 3 into Zopel Swordsman, my bad. Alright, I think it's Zopel Swordsman. Alright, then with Deeds of Valor, and I believe some other stuff that you can do here. Some people want to go Fencer, there's a lot of options after Barbarian 3. Alright, for rank 6 classes. Some people go Squire just to learn the repair, I don't know. Kind of stuff. But for rank 4, Barbarian, I believe this should be the most optimal build. Helm Chopper, just for the stun, into Cleave. And then you realize that you have additional 9 points, by the way. So if you are going to go into other class, then yeah, just by all means go all Cleave. And Helm Chopper by itself deals decent damage, by the way, because it's what's that? What do they call it? It's base damage, alright? You see this 283 here. It's base damage, alright? It's only based off one of its attack. So let me just go back to the game real quick. You would think that Helm Chopper level 1 will do pathetic damage, right? But check out, man. Check it out. This guy's trying to group up monsters. I don't want to disturb him. Alright. So let's look at Cleave, alright? Cleave, 1.2k crit. Okay, the Helm Chopper, 500 at level 1. And both crits, by the way. So it's really not too shabby as a level 1 skill. I actually maxed it, because it actually deals decent damage maxed, to be honest. So let's say we max the skill. Right now, let's go to skill simulator. Alright, look at it. Level 5, 615 times 2 is actually 1.2, which means more base damage compared to Cleave. Alright, so this one, the attack actually doesn't take into account it's both attacks. It takes into account one hit. So you strike twice, both of the damage is only based off, the base damage is just based off one of the hits, but you hit twice, so you need to times 2 the base attack here, just to let you guys know something that I realized. But seism and Cleave is based off whatever that they show you over there. Even though seism at level 5, you realize that you hit the damage is, let's say, you can see it's 1054, right? Just to show you guys, okay? So Cleave, it's 800. Seism hits 3 times, that's a crit, so that's around 1.2, 900. That's about 1.2 plus 1.8. 3k. So 3k damage, guys. 3k damage. And you realize that Cleave crit at level 7 was only 1.3. So yeah, you can see that seism cannot be, 1000 times 3. If you realize, it cannot be 1000 times 3. Correct, right? It cannot be 1000 times 3. Yeah, you can see that it's only 1400. So I'm pretty sure all the 3 damage add up to form the base damage of the skill. Alright. They have a name for it in Dragon. What do they call it? I suddenly lost the word for it. What's that? What do you call it? The skill something damage. I lost it for some reason. I remember it before this. But you can see level 7 only 740 versus seism 1054. So if Cleave at 740 hits around 1.3k crit, if there's 300 more base damage, then yeah, it should make up for it. And you can see that my Cleave has a 10% attribute damage more. So Cleave and seism uses damage enhanced attributes. You can go up to level 100 by the way, and they use up a lot of gold. That's why I only can get it to level 10. In any case, that essentially is my Barbarian. So I'm going to show you guys right now is a boss fight, just to show you guys a bit of the gameplay. And before I get there, let's just talk about why shouldn't you go strength build. So I actually resetted my build to go full strength, and I tested out the damage for seism, Cleave, and Helm Chopper. While the white base damage is higher, alright. But if you take into account that I crit, then you can just throw strength out of the way. Plus, you have all evasion, dodging, you know, plus points that you get from going Dex. And what do I want to say? Okay, so going strength increases your critical attack, but your critical damage is useless if you cannot crit, alright? And most importantly, having played the Curvis class, which is I'm making a video, you will see another video after this. It's a level 53/60 or level 53 video of my Curvis or higher. Alright. Curvis have a skill that increases critical attack by 90, and that's only at level 5. No, that's at level. Yeah, that's level 5. Which means I can get plus 90 critical attack without getting strength. Alright, haven't seen a class that can buff Dex yet. So the other part is that strength, I can get strength from my Curvis as well. Curvis has a skill called Divine Stigma that can give me plus 43 strength. So a lot of the shortcomings of strength can be replaced by buffs, wherein Dex, I haven't seen a Dex buff yet. So yep, that's the last part I want to mention about how strength is not so good compared to Dex for a person going Swordsman, Barbarian for sure. Alright, I think that's about it. Did I miss anything else? No. So yep, the damage from a full Dex Barbarian build will be better than a full strength Barbarian build at level 100, for sure. Okay, so let's go to the boss fight. And guess what? We are fighting a unicorn for our boss fight. So we're fighting with a bunch of soldier souls, but it looks like they got wrecked. And yep, so we're gonna buff up first. NPCs don't do shit for you, look at that. Okay, wow, they can kill the pillow trap. First time NPCs are useful. What you usually do is you buff Warcry, and then you go for seism. I don't think I want to get hit by that. Then you just spam your Cleaves, and then you go for Frenzy, and then pretty much this is just for you right clicking, I won't say right clicking, normal attacking the boss right now. And letting the Frenzy stacks. You can see at the top left corner I have 10 stacks right now. I'm hitting bosses for about 200 damage a piece, which is not a lot if you take into account, but boss has very high defense. You saw me hitting like mobs for 500 to 600 just now. So seism is up again. And we can already see that I'm going to try to see if I can block that skill. Yeah, I can. So that's a physical based attack. So we didn't worry about that. This one looks magical though. Yeah, that's magical. I want to get out of that one for sure. So basically any magical attack you can pretty much dodge actually. This one is physical, dodge. Got the damage and crits. Oh boy, seism high. And Frenzy runs off. And I'm not going to use Helm Chopper here because it's just level 1. Just remember to buff your concentrate when you can. And yeah, pretty much. You realize that Warcry doesn't have 100% uptime, you can't have even with the attributes max level. Your downtime, you can reduce it to 42 seconds. And yeah, that's about it. Technically speaking, you want to use Warcry to get a Frenzy, but I realized using it, the skill is better. That's just my personal thought about it. 900 crits on my Cleave. You can see that. You see guys, dodge high. Now we just Frenzy him to death. I want to finish him off with a beautiful seism, guys. Let's go for it. Seism! God. And yep, that's pretty good. That's about it. I hope the video is not too long. I think it's gonna be close to around 30 minutes or less, I guess. Let's see. I'm not too sure how long the video was, but yep, that will be my level 100 Barbarian full Dex. Talk about how it's better over strength overall, and talk about my thought processes behind my build in general, and whether you're going for Barbarian tree, that kind of style later on, what should you actually do. Big thank you to Aces to let me know about how seism is actually better compared to Cleave at this stage of the game overall because of its base damage. I actually didn't want to add seism at all, by the way, because I wanted to go for the full level 15 Cleave, Frenzy, Barbarian tree build that many people will actually go for when they actually use the skill simulator. But of course, if you cannot actually play the close beta, you can play around with the skill simulator yourself and explore all the beautiful options. But know that the simulation can only give you that much insights. Like, I wanted to go for the Cleave build, then you realize that you cannot stun enemies, you cannot stun bosses, which is what you actually want to be, right? I wanted to be a guy that can kill bosses very fast, or any strong monster very fast. But my dream got dashed because you can't stun bosses. So that's it, guys. My name has been AikawaKazu. Thanks for watching once again. Oops, my bad. I want to show you guys the love. Some love for you guys. Thanks for watching once again. God bless. I will see you guys in the next one. God bless. And I didn't manage to end the video properly. Let's do that again. Thanks for watching, everyone. My name is AikawaKazu. God bless, and I'll see you guys and girls in the next one. That was pretty embarrassing. Goodbye.